Have you ever found yourself lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering quietly, is this just what happens to a man after a certain age? That creeping sense of disconnection, not just from your body, but from your very self. The way things used to stir without effort, the way your mornings used to begin with a certain quiet confidence, now replaced with silence. Stillness, a feeling you can't quite describe, except to say that something feels like it's missing. And the worst part? No one talks about it. Your friends don't bring it up. Your doctor might rush through the appointment. And your partner, well, maybe she doesn't ask anymore. Maybe she's already made up her mind. So you tuck it away. You tell yourself it's just part of getting older, that this is normal. But let me ask you something. What if it's not? What if this slow fading isn't just aging, but a warning sign? What if your body isn't broken? It's just starved, missing something so small, yet so vital, that without it, your blood can't flow, your energy won't rise, and your manhood, your very sense of presence, starts to fall asleep. Now, I've been a doctor for over 35 years. My name's Dr. Edward. And if there's one thing I've learned after working with thousands of men over 55, it's this: your body still wants to work, still wants to respond, still wants to live. You just have to give it the right tools. And no, I'm not talking about a prescription or a pump or some overpriced bottle of pills. I'm talking about one thing. One small spoonful of something so natural, so simple, you might already have it in your kitchen. Yet if you take it the right time, before bed, when your body does its deepest healing, it can help unlock blood flow to your most vital organ, relax constricted vessels, reduce inflammation, and quietly wake up a part of you that's been sleeping far too long. Now, I know that probably sounds like one of those too good to be true stories you've heard before. But I promise you, I'm not here to sell you a dream. I'm here to share something that's already helped more men than I can count regain their confidence, their strength, and yes, their morning spark. That moment when you wake up and feel it, not just physically, but emotionally. Like, I'm still here. I'm still a man. And the best part? This method doesn't involve some overnight gimmick. It works by restoring what time and stress and poor diet and bad sleep have quietly eroded your natural ability to nourish your blood vessels, support your prostate, and invite circulation back into the places where life begins. But I want to make one thing clear. This isn't about chasing your 25-year-old self. This is about reclaiming the man you are today, the one with wisdom, experience, and stories to tell. The man who's lived but doesn't want to settle. The man who knows deep down he's not done yet. So stay with me, because over the next few minutes, I'm going to guide you, step by step, through this simple nightly ritual, show you exactly what to take and why it works, and help you understand the real reason most senior men feel themselves fading long before their time. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. But before we go further, do me two small favors. First, hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon. Not because I need followers, but because what I'm about to share could be the turning point in your journey, and I don't want you to miss what's coming next. There's so much more to tell. And second, drop a quick comment below with the name of the city you're watching from. I read every single one. It reminds me I'm speaking to real men all over the country, and sometimes all over the world, who are looking for the truth. Men who are tired of feeling ignored, dismissed, or left behind. So go ahead, subscribe, hit the bell, and comment your city. Now, let me ask you something a little uncomfortable. When was the last time you really felt blood rushing through your body? I'm not talking about exercise or getting flushed from a hot shower. I'm talking about that surge down below, that subtle throb that reminds you, I'm alive. I'm ready. I still have fire in me. Because here's the truth most doctors won't say out loud. Blood flow is everything. You can take every vitamin, eat clean, sleep 8 hours, But if your blood doesn't reach where it's needed, nothing happens. No spark, no sensation, no erection, just silence. And it doesn't vanish overnight. It starts slowly, a missed signal here, a weaker response there. You shrug it off. You blame stress. You say you're tired. But inside, your vessels are stiffening. Your capillaries are narrowing. And a nutrient that once helped open those highways wide open, it's nowhere to be found. That's where this one vitamin comes in. And I'm going to share it with you. Not just the name, but how to use it, why it works, and what to expect. But not all at once. Because if there's one thing I've learned in 35 years of men's health, it's this. Healing is a journey, not a flash in the pan, not a silver bullet, but a steady return, one breath, one heartbeat, one drop of blood at a time. So in just a moment, we're going to break it all down. First, we'll talk about the real problem behind fading energy and limp responses. It's not what you think. Then, I'll walk you through a natural method you can start tonight that will begin nourishing blood flow back into your body without any pills or side effects. And finally, I'll show you the hidden mistake that 90% of men over 55 make that keeps their circulation stagnant and their morning silent. But remember, every part of this matters. So if you're still with me, lean in. Because in the next section, I'll show you why your blood stopped flowing freely in the first place and how we can fix it, starting from the inside out. And it all begins with understanding what's really going on down there. Let's talk about something most men don't realize until it's already taken a toll on their lives: poor circulation. Now, you might think this topic sounds like something from a pharmaceutical brochure, a bit dry, a bit technical. But I want you to hear me out because this isn't just about veins and arteries. It's about how blood flow, or the lack of it, touches every part of your identity as a man. From how deeply you sleep to how confidently you move to whether or not you wake up feeling like you've still got it. Circulation is the silent thread that holds it all together. Here's what I hear all the time in my practice. Doc, I'm just getting older. That's the line. It's almost like a resignation, as if gray hair or stiff joints automatically come with a loss of sensation, sluggish energy, or quiet embarrassment in the bedroom. But let me stop you there. Age is a factor, yes, but it's not the villain. The real issue, in most cases, is something far more subtle: inflammation and blockage that quietly builds up in your blood vessels day after day, until the engine just doesn't purr the way it used to. Picture this. Your circulatory system is a vast highway of microscopic roads. When you were younger, traffic flowed freely, strong, steady, unstoppable. But over the years, with every stressful day, every sugar spike, every skipped walk or restless night, that highway narrows. A little gunk here, a bit of stiffness there. Suddenly, your body's ability to deliver blood, rich, oxygenated, life-giving blood, to the parts that need it most is compromised. And you don't notice it all at once. It starts subtly. You get cold more easily. You take longer to recover. Your erections become softer or disappear altogether. Some men blame themselves. Some turn to pills. But very few stop to ask the deeper question: why is this happening in the first place? Why does a body that once responded in seconds now hesitate? Why does desire remain, but performance falter? The answer lies not just in aging, but in how we age. Specifically in how our vessels, the blood highways, are treated over time. You wouldn't expect a car engine to run well if the oil hadn't been changed in 20 years, right? So why expect your body to function at its best when your internal plumbing hasn't been cleared, nourished, or maintained in decades? And here's where it gets even more interesting. Most men have no idea that the very foods they're eating, the sauces, the snacks, the sodas, are slowly choking their circulation. I've seen men in their late 50s and early 60s who look healthy on the outside, but inside, Their arteries are screaming. Some of these guys hadn't felt a strong erection in months, even years. They thought it was just part of life. Until we changed one thing, how their blood was moving. And once that blood started flowing again, not just to the penis, but throughout the body, it was like flipping a switch. But here's the kicker. Improving circulation isn't just about the obvious. It's about more than sex. It's about how quickly your brain wakes up in the morning, how much energy you have in your legs during a walk, how easily your heart recovers after climbing stairs. Good circulation is vitality. It's freedom. It's manhood without restriction. And most men are suffering from poor blood flow without even realizing it. They're not short on testosterone. They're short on oxygen delivery. The hormone is there, but the roads are blocked. So nothing arrives where it needs to. And because they don't know this, they try harder. They take more supplements. They push themselves in the gym. And yet, no results. That's why I tell my patients, stop blaming age. Start asking smarter questions. In a moment, I'll introduce you to a man named Harold, 67 years old, former high school coach, still sharp as a tack, but frustrated beyond belief. His blood tests were fine, his cholesterol was normal, but he felt disconnected from his body. His doctor offered pills, but he wanted something natural, something real. And when I suggested one specific vitamin, just one, that could start to reawaken the blood vessels that had gone quiet, I saw something flicker in his eyes. Hope. But that story comes later. For now, let me leave you with this. The biggest problem facing men over 55 isn't weakness, it's silence. It's the fact that no one's talking about this. Not your doctor, not your friends, not the guy on TV with the big smile and prescription pad. That silence keeps you stuck. But the truth? It's simple. Blood that doesn't move can't nourish. And a man whose blood no longer nourishes his manhood will slowly begin to feel like less of the man he used to be. So don't accept that. Not yet. Not without a fight. Because in the next part, I'll tell you what I told Harold. The one spoonful that kickstarts the journey back. And how the right nutrient, taken the right way, can begin to rebuild those roads inside your body. The ones that lead back to strength, sensation, and satisfaction. The first time Harold walked into my office, I could tell he was tired. Not just physically, but emotionally. He was 67, broad-shouldered, used to be a football coach back in the day. The kind of man who could command a room without saying much. But now, he slumped a little, smiled, but without conviction. He told me, "Doc, I feel like I'm running on fumes." I asked him what he meant, and he paused. "Well," he said, "I sleep fine. I eat decent. I go on walks. But there's just nothing down there anymore. No morning wood. No reaction when my wife touches me. It's like my body forgot how to respond." Now, I'd heard this story before too many times. And Harold wasn't the kind of man who'd bring this up lightly. I could tell he felt embarrassed, maybe even ashamed, like he'd failed some invisible test of masculinity. But I told him something I want you to hear clearly. This isn't your fault, and it's not permanent. What Harold was experiencing was what I call silent starvation. Not of food or testosterone or drive, but of blood flow. And more importantly, of one vital nutrient his body desperately needed but hadn't been getting for years. So I asked Harold the question no other doctor had asked him. "What's your vitamin K2 intake like?" He looked at me like I had 3 heads. You see, most men have heard of vitamin D, maybe magnesium, but vitamin K2? It flies under the radar. And yet, it plays one of the most critical roles in your circulatory health, especially as you age. Here's what most people don't know. As we get older, calcium, yes, the same calcium we're told is good for our bones, can start to build up in places it shouldn't. Not just in your joints or kidneys, but in your blood vessels. That's right. Little by little, calcium sneaks into your arterial walls, making them stiff, brittle, and less responsive. especially in those tiny, delicate vessels that feed your penis. And here's where vitamin K2 comes in. Its job is like that of a traffic cop. It tells calcium where to go, into your bones, where it belongs, and where not to go, like your arteries. Without enough K2, calcium goes rogue. And when that happens, even the healthiest diet and exercise routine won't restore circulation where you need it most. Harold was shocked. He said, "So you're telling me this one vitamin could change everything?" And I said, "It's not magic. But yes, if your body's starving for K2 and we give it what it needs, you'll begin to see changes. Real ones." I told him to start with just 1 teaspoon of a particular food rich in K2, natto, a traditional Japanese fermented soybean product. It's one of the richest natural sources of K2 on the planet. Now, I'll be honest, natto isn't for everyone. It's sticky, smelly, and has a strong flavor. But the results? Unbelievable. Still, for men who can't tolerate natto, there are alternatives, aged cheeses, certain grass-fed animal products, or even high-quality K2 supplements derived from -7 malawin quaches, the most bioavailable form. But the key, I told him, was timing. Take it at night, I said. 1 spoonful. Not in the morning, not at lunch. Right before bed. That's when your body begins its repair work. That's when blood vessels relax and your hormonal system resets. If there's ever a moment for nourishment to matter most, it's then. Harold followed my instructions. Every night, 1 spoon of K2, rich food, sometimes with a bit of olive oil to help absorption. He cut down on processed snacks, upped his hydration, and made sure to get at least a brisk walk in daily. Nothing extreme, just a consistent routine. Now here's the part that still gives me chills. 10 days later, Harold came back. He had this grin on his face, not a boastful one, but the kind that said, "You're not going to believe what happened." "Doc," he said, "I woke up this morning and it was there. For the first time in over a year. Just standing there like old times." He didn't need to say anything else. I could see it in his posture, his eyes. He wasn't just celebrating an erection. He was celebrating the return of a part of himself he thought he'd lost forever. Now, I want to be honest with you. Not every man reacts the same way or in the same time frame. But the science is clear. Vitamin K2 helps reduce arterial calcification, supports endothelial function, and promotes healthier blood flow, especially in those hard-to-reach areas. And when your blood can finally move, so can your confidence, your energy, your life. But that was only the beginning. Because while K2 opened the door, there was something else that accelerated the change. Something most men overlook because it seems too simple, too basic to matter. Yet it's one of the most powerful circulation boosters I've ever seen. In the next part, I'm going to tell you exactly what it is and how one man went from feeling numb and unresponsive to fully alive again using nothing but this second method and a little patience. Stay with me. You don't want to miss this. After Harold's story, I started noticing something. A pattern. More and more men would come into my clinic. Some in their late 50s, some well into their 70s. And they all said the same thing. "I don't feel broken," document. Just dull, not sick, not in pain, but like the light inside had dimmed. Now, I'd already seen how vitamin K2 could unlock blood flow by helping clear the junk from the arteries. But there was still something missing, something that acted as the match to light the fuse. Because restoring circulation is only part of the equation. The other half, waking up nerve response. That's where Frank's story comes in. Frank was 61, retired mechanic, built like a rock, hands like sandpaper, always wore a cap, even indoors. He was the kind of man who didn't like talking much, but when he did, you listened. He came to see me after hearing about Harold. Said he hadn't felt much of anything down there in almost 2 years. "I don't even try anymore," he told me. eyes down. It's like trying to start a car with no battery. Now, I could have prescribed something. A pill, a gel, a patch. But that's not why Frank came to me. He came because he wanted something real. Something he could do with his own hands. I respected that. So I introduced him to something deceptively simple and shockingly effective. Warm castor oil massage. Yes, castor oil. The same thick, golden oil your grandmother might have used for stomach aches or dry skin. But applied topically in the right way, this oil becomes something else entirely. You see, castor oil is rich in something called ricinoleic acid, a compound known to increase local blood flow and reduce inflammation, especially when gently massaged into the skin. It's been used for centuries for everything from liver detox to pain relief. But when I discovered its effect on microcirculation, especially in men over 55, it became a game changer. Here's how I told Frank to do it. Every night, after a shower, once his skin was warm and his body relaxed, he was to take 1 teaspoon of organic cold-pressed castor oil. Just one. He'd warm it between his palms, then gently massage it into the base of his pelvis, the area just above the shaft around the lower abdomen, and into the inner thighs. Now here's the key. I didn't want him to rub it in fast. No rushing. I told him to take his time. Breathe. Let his body know he was paying attention. The goal wasn't arousal. It was reconnection. The first few nights, not much happened. He even called me on day 4 and said, "Doc, I think I'm just rubbing oil on my belly for no reason." But I told him, stick with it. This isn't a light switch. It's more like kindling. You're building a fire. And on night 7, it happened. He didn't even realize it first. He said he'd finished his massage, turned off the light, and laid in bed like usual. And then, without warning, he felt a pulse. Just a subtle throb. But it was there. His wife noticed too. They didn't say much. Didn't need to. But the next day, Frank walked into my office wearing a grin I hadn't seen before. "Doc," he said, "I think the engine's cranking." Now, what's important here isn't just the method, it's why it works. Castor oil, when used regularly, helps reawaken dormant nerve endings, especially in areas where blood flow has been compromised for years. That gentle stimulation signals your body to send more nutrients, more oxygen, more vitality to that area. It doesn't force arousal, invites it. And when you combine that with improved circulation from K2, suddenly you've got a 1-2 punch. A way to open the pipes and reactivate the spark. Now I know, this might sound too simple. Oil and a spoonful of vitamin. But I've seen it work over and over again. It's not a gimmick. It's not fast, but it's real. And for men like Frank, and maybe for you, it can mean the difference between slowly fading into silence or stepping back into yourself with confidence and strength. And just so you know, Frank still does his nightly massage. Says it's part of his ritual now. It's not just about sex, he told me. It's about feeling again, knowing I'm still alive. That's the kind of healing I believe in. And now that you've heard both of these natural methods, the spoonful before bed and the nightly castor oil ritual, you might be wondering, how do I actually do this right? What's the best way to combine them? How long until I feel something? Are there any mistakes I should avoid? Those are all great questions. And in the next and final part, I'll walk you through the exact steps. I'll also share a story from a man in his 70s who used these methods to reconnect with his wife after a long period of distance, and how the quiet return of sensation changed not just his body, but his marriage. So stay with me. You're closer than you think. Now let's talk about how to actually apply what you've just learned the right way. First, for the vitamin K2 method, take 1 spoonful of a K2 rich food or supplement right before bed. Not in the morning, not during lunch. That's when your body is in healing mode, and that's when blood vessels are most receptive to nourishment. Stick to natural sources like natto, aged Gouda, or a negative 7 malowin-quacha supplement with at least 100 micrograms per dose, ideally paired with healthy fat. Olive oil works great. As for the castor oil technique, warm 1 teaspoon of organic cold-pressed castor oil between your palms, then gently massage it into your lower abdomen and upper pelvic area. Don't rush. Do it with presence and intention. Make it a nightly ritual, not a chore. Breathe deeply as you do it. This is your time. One of my favorite stories came from a man named Roger, 74 years old, married for 50 years. He'd all but given up on intimacy. But after 21 days of combining both techniques, he wrote me a letter. "My wife cried," he said. "She told me she hadn't felt this close to me in years, and neither had I. It wasn't just about erections. It was about emotional connection." And if you want confirmation that this works beyond anecdotes, here it is. Studies have shown that vitamin K2 reduces arterial calcification and improves vascular elasticity. Meanwhile, topical castor oil has been shown to increase nitric oxide production locally, which supports healthy blood flow. These aren't folk tales. They're backed by modern research and centuries of practice. But let me warn you, the most common mistake I see is men giving up too early. They try it for 3 days and say, "Nothing's happening." But you didn't lose sensation overnight, and you won't get it back overnight either. Give it time. Be consistent. This is about healing, not performing. Another mistake? Skipping the bedtime schedule. Timing matters. Both the oil and the vitamin work best while you sleep. Miss that window too often, and the results fade. So let me leave you with this. If something inside you stirred while watching this, if you thought, maybe this could work for me, then don't let that spark go out. Try it. Start tonight. And if you want more methods like this, real, natural, no nonsense, hit like, click subscribe, and drop a comment below with a simple one so I know you're with me. You're not too old. You're not too far gone. You're just one step away from feeling alive again. Let's take that step together.